Well, folks, like Icarus, we flew too high to the sun. There's no going back. What's done is done. It's time to just move on. I know some of you, at least 2 out of 3 in this group, are hurting. But, you know, fourth time is the charm when it comes to overtime. But, I could go on and on. I could just sit here and waller and weller and be sad. But I have two other folks here to share the grief with me. Sean, Mills, how are you feeling tonight?
All right, I'll go first. It still stings the way we lost that game to fight back from a 10-point deficit in the fourth quarter to send it to overtime and then come up short. And it's reminiscent of the I want to say 2018 game at Tech where Bryce Perkins fumbled in overtime. And it just had that same feeling, except for this one was for more. This one was for for the college football playoff. This one was for the ACC championship game, and you know it sucked. It sucked. I was up till 1:30 in the morning, just sitting there trying to rewatch it all back and figure out what the heck happened, and it just hurt. You were truly hurt. Now joy comes in the morning. We still have a chance for an 11-win season. No playoffs, but it's still been a successful year for Virginia football, and you got to take that as the takeaway from this season. And so, yeah, still hurting, still supporting the UVA. I had to rock black on Sunday and morning. Mills saw me rocking black in morning, but yeah, that's how I feel. Mills.
Mills, yeah, well, hold on, Mills. So, I mean, I think we all know where you feel, to be honest with you, but did you have any like bummer in your heart? I mean, it was a win-win for you, but we missed some historic opportunities in my perspective.
Um, yeah, there's always that. You get excited. In the first three quarters they played like crap, and then in the fourth they're driving. They score that touchdown at the end. To basically send it to overtime. And I was like, okay, I now know one of my teams is going to the playoff. Um, and then it brought back the first play of overtime after they scored in the first play. It just reminded me of the Bronco against Tech, the little trick play throw to the lineman, which didn't work, and he throws a pick. And I'm excited for JMU. Let's be real, the committee's going to change this next year. The group of five will be in the playoffs at all next year. Notre Dame's going to get their way as long as they're in the top 12. Um, I
Don't get me
think
started
this.
on that. We'll talk about that another day. Don't get me started on the crybabies that are Notre Dame.
I mean, it's the thing now. Like it's like, and we'll talk about the bowls. And I know we've always talked. To me, bowls are not important. And I know y'all can say all you want. It is to the fans, but these kids don't care about the fans. Some of them don't. Um, but in general, yeah, I'm excited. It did hurt to see Chandler go out like that because it sounds like he's not going to get that extra eligibility. So, you know, that's what people are going to see or kind of remind them of. That's his last throw is that pick. But, all in
Still
all,
got the
great
bowl game.
season.
Still got the bowl game. He can go be
So
Superman.
let's kind of quickly break this down. I think if you listen, you watch the game, and I really don't think that we need a total analysis of the game. But I do want to kind of recap it pretty quickly and just kind of get your guys' feelings as we went through it. I mean, all season it felt like we deferred when we won the coin toss. We went on ahead and did that again, but it came back to bite us. They basically flipped the script on us in the first quarter, which was quite the impressive drive by Duke and the fact that they held the ball for just over 10 minutes. And you know what I
Which we
mean? So,
gifted them. We
but
gifted them that opportunity.
so I guess there is some controversy on giving them the ball it's always easy to go back in retrospect and say, hey, we shouldn't have done that because they held the ball. But I think it was the right decision.
I
I think
agree.
it's still, if you really look at it, if you look at I think that first drive we had out of halftime, we came down and at least got some points out of it. So, I mean, we did benefit from getting the ball back. And also, if, unless you want to jump in, Sean, because I feel like I'm going to steal a point from you without knowing, if you run back that first drive, the consequential offsides play on a punt where it's 0-0, we we're not trying to get we are trying to get the ball back, but it's not like do or die. We have to get the ball back, and it was such a dumb penalty. Like if we had gotten the ball back there, it's
It
taking
changes the
making that decision on the coin toss makes so much more sense there.
yeah. I think the penalty is what hurt us, and we
Which one?
had
We had many.
the well the biggest one was that fourth down punt penalty when we were offsides. So that was what really hurt us. So we had them stopped on their 46 on our 46-yard line. So it was a punt, and then we make it 4th and 2, and then they make an easy completion, and then they end up going down and scoring. So yeah, that it hurt. I think honest if there's no question of whether we should have given them the ball first if we hold them to the punt. And then it plays out because if you look, we did have a chance to end the second quarter with a touchdown and then go in and get the ball back at half, but we didn't get anything going. We had the drive at 1:43 and we only took 50 seconds off the clock. And we moved it a total of 19 yards. So you look at it, we had some missed opportunities there. Um,
You know,
so when it comes to the taking the ball, it would have been null and void if we didn't jump offside. And we got to give it to Duke. They were hyper aggressive the entire night. And that 4th and 2 call set the tone. And they were 4 for 4 on 4th down, which they played like they had nothing to lose. And it came back and bit us. And that just opening drive, it kind of just sucked the life out of you.
yeah, I mean, Mills, let me get your perspective. Do you feel like at a certain point in the game, maybe even as early as the second quarter, did we run the ball too much? Did we not let Chandler just sling it? I mean, we've
Uh, I thought we were running the ball a lot, but then we had moments where Taylor would get good yardage or Whaley would get good yardage,
absolutely.
and it just felt like, all right, let's just keep doing this. And then, I mean, kind of going back to like Sean said, Duke had nothing to lose. They're 7-5, and they can throw you know, the kitchen sink at us, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, they don't care. They're in the ACC championship, and they were just out there to ruin our season of getting to the playoff, and which they did. But I going back, I don't mind us deferring and letting them have it because it also goes into the third quarter where you could potentially have gone and get the double dip. You score at the end and get back and score again, but that didn't work out in our advantage. But I
But
mean,
I felt like we evened it up pretty quick, after they scored. We didn't have a lot of time, because of that super long drive. When we came down, was the first drive that we
I
punted
thought the first
away,
drive we
and then the
punted.
second we quickly capitalized on the interception and responded pretty
Correct.
quick.
Yeah,
And I mean, at that point, I mean, if you kind of see, you would think that they would know the game plan right there, and we've got to get points quick, or we got to grind the ball out. So and change the game because I mean, if we put Duke behind the ball, they're going to start throwing the ball more. And if let's face it, like passes that they weren't getting in that first game, they were getting. Those deep balls they were hitting, those 50-50 balls, whatever you want to call them, they were hitting. We didn't have that
Essa played
last game.
well.
And they just executed. And at the end of the day, like we had some critical penalties and we just didn't fully execute. I don't think we necessarily played a bad game. And I also would say that a lot of people I think we're crapping on Duke going into this game in terms of like, they're not ranked, that it's just the chaos cluster with them being there. But really, and I told you, Mills, that I felt like Duke at the beginning of the season. I felt like Duke was a dark horse to maybe to get into the college football playoff, which they didn't. But still, there's a lot of talent on that team, and you know what I mean. Like you know what I'm
They
saying?
just
Like
had some
I feel
bad
like they
losses.
don't get enough. I don't feel like they got enough credit, and they played with a chip on their shoulder, and it showed it.
I mean, you look at their losses. There's some of those are pretty bad losses. Like the Yukon loss was pretty
But
bad.
UConn's had a great year. Like I mean, like that's like I hate to say it this way. Wouldn't that be the equivalent of losing the JMU? But
I mean, I
JMU.
would say that's the Tulane, more
But I'm just,
Tulane.
but I'm just saying. Well, sure, that's a good point. But I'm just saying, like UConn has that excellent quarterback, and I think Duke is just a little wishy washy sometimes. And I think they fixed some things after that UConn game. They were playing pretty strong after that.
They
Yeah,
after we played them, they went to a more balanced approach and took a little bit of pressure off Mensa. And then when they started being able to run the ball more, it opened up the passes a little bit more. And you know, the first time we played them, like you said, Ben, they didn't get those throws. They were 0 for 5 on those over the top deep balls. He just overthrew them. This game, he got 2 or 3 of them. Granted, they didn't hurt us. Even like that, there was a drive where we stopped him on the goal line and that was from that drive or from a play setup like that. So bringing it back, then, yeah, our first drive is one of the first missed opportunities. Kind of a stretch for Bettridge, had a 47-yarder. He had the distance, he just kind of hooked it, and then they get the ball back and then throw the interception. So, and then we
you know how I
capitalize
said
pretty quickly.
he's not good for 42 on.
You just like to rag on the guy, but at the same time, you like to compare him and see where he is all time.
Well,
It's just,
I got a
it's
question for Mills in a minute.
all right.
Mills, how would you say the defense played? Really, when you look back at it,
Uh, Decent. I mean, you couldn't
mm-hmm.
get a third down stop. You know that I think that
Couldn't get a
10-minute
fourth down
drive.
stop. But yeah,
Yeah, well, that too, but the third down stop that led to the can't get the fourth. I just thinking that 10-minute drive or 11-minute drive, whatever they had, kind of took the wind out of the sails a little bit. I mean, the boys were tired; they were on the field for 11 minutes, and then wasn't it what we Sean said we had the ball for a minute and a half, and we punted, kind of. I mean, I think they definitely flipped the script in the middle of the third, and we started getting stops in the fourth. But I mean, it's a little too late. But luckily, the offense was able to score.
what about you, Sean? How do you think the defense played?
I think the defense played all right, especially for the moment. I don't think it got too big for them. But what Mill said, the time of possession is what killed us. In the first half, they had the ball for 20 minutes and 30 seconds. And then on third down conversions, they were 6 for 16 in the game. And fourth down, they were 3 for 4. And they were 5 for 5 in the red zone. So, I mean, those kind of hurt. We really didn't get home against them. We only got 1 sack on the day. And they did a good job with their offensive line and getting our protection. We just couldn't get off the field. And then again, the penalties that would give them free plays um, just hurt. And then the deep shots over the top.
Yeah.
Overall, I would say it wasn't the best defensive game we played all year, but the defense still did enough to win us the game. It was the offense that kind of struggled, couldn't get anything fully going. You know, we talk about some more of these missed opportunities. We missed a field goal at the beginning. That's 3 points. We went for it on fourth down in the fourth quarter, and we didn't get it. That's another 3 points that you would have had. So, and then we we do that trickery play when it comes down in overtime. And
We can get to the trickery play. I want to put a pin in that, Sean. I don't want to quite get to the trick,
yeah, so
but
obviously the defense did enough to win us a game, only allowing 20 points in regulation, which is kind of where they've been all year. Again, to an explosive Duke team who's averaged more than that. So overall, defense did enough. The offense just wasn't there. And I want to go back
go ahead.
on the offense real quick. We kind of talked about, I think it's something that also was that kind of threw us out of sync. So Duke had a hands to the face penalty, and that was the same play that Jamar Taylor fumbled the ball. and Elliott pulled Taylor. So Harrison Whaley got all the touches on that very first drive. Maybe Jamari had one in that drive, but I think that also threw us out of sync because that's not who you're expecting to run the ball, and you kind of miss some of his explosiveness, and then you're dealing with Whaley, even though both of them are averaging almost 5 yards a carry. I think that was just something that extra to throw us off, that we almost turned the ball over and gave them even more momentum, but we had Taylor who basically sat the entire first drive.
Yeah, but in fairness to that, Sean, Whaley was I thought Whaley was solid, and I really wish we would actually utilize him a little bit more throughout the season. But that's neither here nor there. But I think that, like you and I discussed, and I think that was just to get um Taylor's
Get his
head
mind
straight.
right. Yeah.
But and also kind of like, so what I wanted to do was kind of touch on the defense a little bit. It really felt like they were just slightly off. Like they were just like you said, they just couldn't get home. They were almost there. If you go back and look at it,
We
so we
actually
had
did force three
well,
fumbles on the
I was about to.
defense.
That's what I was
Yeah.
about to mention, you thief. But no, you know, we almost had those fumble recoveries. Those are huge game changers. We had the interception and capitalized on it, but it's just like when he moved out of the pocket, like we almost got to him. If you even like you look at that very last play where they scored, like
We
just
had
like
it. We had it shut down, and
just
it
had it
was.
off. And like that was amazing defense, goal line defense, the first three plays. And honestly, I felt like the fourth play was good. They just leaked out a little bit. We just couldn't get to them. I mean, at the end of the
I
day,
think. I think Marcellus was kind of out of position a little bit. I think he was expecting Menza to try to break off a run. If he would have just stayed home, he's right there, and that throw's not there. But you know,
maybe Cam would have
it's
been the
not one.
difference maker.
It's not one play that lost us that game. Like
Yeah,
we said, it's
absolutely.
a handful, and I don't know if this is the right time to bring this part up, but our team has we are a good football team that found a way to win a lot of games, but our margin of error has been razor thin. And this time that margin of error went against us. So that's what hurt in this game is the breaks didn't go our way. Like the two fumbles that Duke had, they were able to fall on and recover. And that, you know, we only had that one takeaway and then we gave the ball up twice. So that's a possession we lost.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, but also like you're talking about that fourth down play. Like even if we had stopped it, there was roughing the passer that no one saw, but there was one. They would
I
have just
think
got first and goal again.
I think I saw it from. You're right about that, Mills. You are correct about that. I think I did kind of see a slight angle. Dude, it was so soft. They barely touched him. I mean, I guess you can't.
They might not have thrown it if
Especially especially
we
when
stopped
you're
them. Who knows?
especially when you're rolling out of the pocket. You know what I mean? You're just trying to make the tackle. It's like I think it was a terrible call. To
I
be
mean, I
honest with
also
you.
think that's like also kind of, and I know you'll probably jump into it, but kind of my segue into it. That 15-yard penalty kind of was also a damper on going into the that overtime because it backs you from the 25 now to the 40, and we can talk however you want to segue into that play. But I think that's the reason for the first play being a trick play to get that yardage back,
And
which I goes to coaching is an idiot because just play it like you have a first down. You have four downs, you get first downs, and it doesn't matter where you start.
so, like to that point, Mills, like I would say, I kind of lost my train of thought with it, but you know what I mean. Like I will get to that point. Man, I just forget that I had a good thought in my head.
So I'll pick up that part. So just like our good friend Deuce told us, a bad play call can be overcome by good execution. And you can't blame everything on this one on Dez. Chandler should have never thrown that ball. That wasn't the best play in the world by that linebacker. He threw it into double coverage. I think he got rushed. Honestly, if you really look at it, Jamari Taylor is wide open. If you would have able to look back and dump it back his way. But I don't like it. We've been running the ball. We ran it down their throat time after time after time, getting 4 and 5, 4 and 5.
And that's
Just
why
do
it's on
that
Dez.
again.
That's why it's
Well,
on
And
okay,
Dez.
I kind of got my thought back, Sean, if you don't
all
mind.
right, go for it.
It's just kind of going back to like with the aggressiveness and nothing left to lose. We just came down a heater. I mean, honestly, at what point, like, why would just go for two? I know that's crazy and it's so easy in
I'm okay with
retrospect,
that
but
too.
you can walk off the field like you went for two, like all for nothing, like, and you're in a better position just to put the game away. Duke's running the ball down your throat. I don't know. Again, like I said, it's so easy to Monday morning quarterback and wish we had done that, and you could swallow. But again, we'd be so highly critical if it. That's how it works, right? Like
Yeah,
if
I agree.
Des fails, he gets blamed. Des gets it. We do it, and it works out. And Des is the man. And I agree with you, Mills. Terrible play call, but two like Ballhawk said, two wrongs are right here. Morris was wrong and how he played that out, and Dez was wrong for even calling the play to begin with. I mean, how much open field did Chandler Morris have just to take off and run,
He
get
could have
eight
gotten
nine
like
Or
three
just
or
yards?
throw it
four
away.
yards. But
Or
like
He
the
didn't
even
thing,
need to
just
throw it
throw it
away.
away.
Just run. I mean, it's
like
not. It's 1st and 10. It's not 1st and 25. So just run the ball.
and
Get your 5. Get your 6. The
And
clock's not running. Whatever, man. You know. So
and
the
here's the
thing
deal on
is
that
like
too. We knew what we had to do. We had to go down and score a touchdown. So every honestly, I think having 40 yards, I think that actually helped us out because the field is a little spaced out. You might have got a bigger chunk play, but the you knew what you had to do. You had 4 plays to get it done. We didn't need the home run on the very first play. Yeah, you think you got the momentum and it's a shot play and that's all fine and dandy. We have not ran a good trick play all year. I would have rather seen us play the same way. The problem, though, I think Chandler Morris again he's more of a gunslinger mentality. And if you look at how we played that final drive, that's the way we should have been playing all year to a point. Like, yes, run the ball effectively, but we also needed to let Chandler rip the ball more. And I think we didn't utilize him to his full potential. But I also think that could just be more the system. But Chandler Morris is a gunslinger, and we could have rolled him out the pocket. What also is frustrating to me is we didn't run plays that worked well against Duke the first time. You didn't really see the speed option. You didn't see a lot of the stuff that made us score 37 on that team or 34 against them 3 weeks ago. And it's like Virginia has this tendency when something works, we throw it out the window and we start from scratch instead of building off of what plays worked. And you can do wrinkles on each play and design them a little bit different. And it's we had better options. I just the execution wasn't there, and I think it just all around. I just there's it's always head scratcher to see what we do week in and week out to change completely the game plan from we go away from what worked one week to trying something else different. And I
yeah,
think this is another one of those examples where we did it. And it's unfortunate. Like I'm not sitting here calling for Dez to be fired, but there's questionable play calls throughout the season that can squarely be pointed at Dez and be like, what were we doing here? And we're stuck with him because you're not going to fire the guy after 10 wins. And again, I'm not calling for his head. This isn't a Nick Howell moment from a few years back. This is it's just head scratching plays where it's like, why did we do it? And Ben, it's same with you. Going back to the 2 point conversion, why not try that? I liked our odds. I mean, 3 for 3 in overtime. I like our chances. We get the ball second, so we know what we got to do. We almost get a stop. Um, There, I think you go for 2. You don't take it into a second overtime. I think it would have been more acceptable to take it over, go for the 2 in the first overtime if you scored the touchdown for the
yeah. I don't
win.
know, but I mean, you just drove. You just drove.
90 through
You just
93
drove.
yards.
Yeah, their defense is worn down. They're a little bit beat down. Their wins are out of the sails. I mean, again, like I said, all in all, and you look back at most of all these plays and everything like that, it's like, it's Monday morning quarterbacking, and we can't go back in time and change these things. We can't. All that can be done is lessons learned by Des, and you just kind of hope that that's players learn and grow from that. But again, like I said, I mean, I guess my perspective is from Luke. I guess it all boils down to this, Sean, and why I even said that is that the way that we lost was what made it so gut wrenching. If we failed on, just
A two
four and
point
out, if we
conversion.
fail 4 and out, you can live with that. They played defense. You know what I mean? We failed on 4 and out. We fail on a 2 point conversion. We failed on a 2 point conversion. Who cares?
yeah, we
It's
didn't
That's
get a
just what it
chance.
is.
We
But
just
the
didn't get
way
a
that it was, just like the North Carolina State game, like it just that's the rip your heart out way to lose, and why you get so angry at the play call and everything else, and just the bitterness that you have that comes with that loss. So yeah,
I know
Before we
Sean's
move
not
off
going to
of
call
this,
for his job, but I'll
what's
call
that?
for it.
go for it, Bill. Go for it, Mills.
I think Dez should be gone. I think he should be canned. I mean,
I
in 3 years, he hasn't produced anything. He ruined Brandon Armstrong. Couldn't let that man be a gunslinger. Let Chandler Morris cuffed him down to the chair. I, I, I don't see him getting us back to where we how this season went. I don't see that happening. I think he's a bum and he's trash and he should probably go to the FCS level. I hope some college. I hope someone picks him up.
I'll say this, that I from your point, Mills, like I would say maybe like I would like to see more of a different system. It's preached for us to have balance and this and that, but things have shown that you don't necessarily have to have that severe of balance. Maybe we can have a air raid type of system that can be effective, but it just all comes down to personnel and whatnot. Sadly, I think they've started to build this team in the direction that Dez needs it to be. I think that's why you've seen the success that you had this year. I think it would be hard to kind of like pivot with a new offensive coordinator. So that's kind of like the tough question of whether you're willing to just hit reset, and what would be the outcome of having a new offensive coordinator come in year one. Would we take steps back, or would it be worth it? You see what I'm saying? So I don't.
Yeah,
Would you rather
but
just kind of, yeah? Go ahead.
and well, I'll kind of dope. It's kind of like it's off the wall script on that, but like we seen what money does and how we spent the money correctly and brought in key players and key athletes. And I mean, also let's look at Texas Tech, who is fourth in the nation. They spent over 30 million and they revamped their whole offense. And Ohio State spending their money in Indiana. I'm just saying we're spending the money correctly. Then why are we going to handcuff these kids with a not so good offensive coordinator? Like, go get someone who can adapt to this portal, and which he is adapting to the portal. That's not like my thing. Is saying if you're going to bring in these good athletes and pay them, get someone who's experienced in the OC world.
You know who I
That's all
want.
I'm saying. What?
Said you know who I want.
Yeah, Jason Beck, go get him. But I don't. But he look at what he's doing at Utah. He had a good season at Utah. But if you look at the teams that are in the playoffs, minus Tulane and JMU and Indiana. Indiana didn't spend that much, but you to be in this playoff, you have to spend the money. You have to go buy the players, and the portal is opening. And now is the time that Elliott should be looking to see who's entering and going out and talking to other players that are on teams right now and say, hey, are you interested in coming over? Everyone does it. Like Ben, you sent us an Instagram today. Coach O said the only thing that's different in NIL world is back then it was the back door, but now it's the front door, and that's what it is. Go drop a bag. Go get these players. We have the money clearly. It's been this I'm not going to blame the kids anymore. This is on the OC. This is on the coaching staff. This is on Elliott, not
Yeah,
Ross.
I'll give Elliot credit. He takes credit for it though. I mean, I know like words are hollow, but at least he does take credit for like, hey, he did
Correct.
cook him up, and Manny Diaz squad executed. I mean, they were cut to that booth quite often. They grinned in either ear because what their game plan that they executed actually worked. I do want to get y'all's final thoughts though on the game, real briefly before we jump into our bowl game. But let's wrap this up. I'm ready to be done with it. I don't know about you guys. Sean, final thoughts on the game? Disappointment, letdown.
Yeah,
Um,
it was one of those things where you're so excited and you're like, this could be our year. And I think the biggest thing is having to check Twitter or X and seeing what the daggone hokey trolls were saying, and that's what kind of got to me the most. Like we lost it in a typical Virginia fashion, which hurts. But then having to deal with X and seeing what all these morons are saying who won 3 games, they had all the room to talk about it, and they're still even commenting on about the attendance of the ACC Championship game, which we had no control over. But ultimately, it it just stings. It's not UMBC level of stinging. It's
Mm-hmm.
not. It definitely hurts more than 2019 because clearly in 2019 we knew we weren't going to win that game. We were playing Clemson. I think they scored 100 touchdowns.
2018, right? Oh, Clemson. Never mind. Back it
Yeah,
up.
Clemson in
I got you.
2019.
Yep, I
So
got you.
it just hurt. The pain, and it's just this is being a UVA fan. It's like we go through this every now and then, and it just hurt. But I think the positive to think of is that we still had a 10-win season, and I'm with Coach Elliott. I was fired up. I texted you all on Sunday. I'm ready for that 11th. Let's go beat Mizzou and get that 11th win and have the most wins in program history. So we still have a goal out there to achieve, and I think we're going to achieve it in 17 days, 22 hours, 8 minutes, and 7 seconds
Mills,
from
you
the
got
date
any
of this
thought?
recording.
Mills, your final thoughts?
I mean, it like you said, it was a disappointment to a great season. For me as an alumni for JMU got in. It would have been cool to see UVA play Ole Miss because that's where they would have lined up. I did not pull the trigger. I'm not going to Oregon. I think the spread is 20.5 for JMU. If I was a betting man, I always think we cover. I do think we're gonna lose, but you know what? This is our one shining moment, as like the college basketball says. So it sucks for that UVA lost in the fashion they did, like Sean said, the typical UVA fashion. But
Well, Mills, you just need to drive over state lines. You bet on the JMU game. You fly out there, and you hope you win your money back on the way back.
yeah, that'd be nice. I mean,
That's big bet right there.
I talked to Mary. I mean, Mary gave me the green light, but you know how that sometimes can be. That green light could look a little more red than green.
But I understand that, Mills. I'm just teasing you a little bit. I'll kind of close with my final thoughts on it, and kind of just to Sean's point. Like, I think you have to kind of back up and look at this game as a whole. In the moment, yes, it really does bum you out, but you do have to look at the season as the totality. They executed the things that you wanted them to execute this season. They got way more wins that you could have hoped for. They beat the one team that you absolutely wanted to beat, and they made it to the ACC championship game. So if you really look at it like that from that perspective, I mean, you can't hold your head down about it too much. I mean, it's a bummer. I believe that the standard has been set and where we need to be and what we need to accomplish year in, year out. That being said, to Sean's point about seeing the X stuff, I found it curious just to see some posts that continue to allude to the program being a fraud. I don't really buy into that. I find it interesting to call the program a fraud at the end of the season versus losing in the middle of the season. I feel like you sat on that for that long, and it's a discredit to the talent that Duke has, and I don't think people can comprehend that. I know that you may say, "Hey, they had some bad losses," but all in all, some of those losses were against really good teams. So one being us, for that matter. But that's my final thoughts on on the game and kind of as the season as a whole. Not necessarily the season as a whole. I'm sure would a whole breakdown, but we did make a bowl game, the Tax Slayer Bowl, not the Pop Tarts Bowl, which we thought would be where we ended up if we weren't in the playoff. We got an SEC draw. I think the biggest thing that I wanted if we were to go to a bowl game was to actually get a good matchup. So all that SEC talk, I mean, it's another big game. It's a historic game for us, for that matter. And I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
if you look at Mizzou, I mean, they were fighting for a playoff spot 2 weeks ago before the conference title. I mean, they were in it, and also they also have the number one running back in the SEC.
yeah, I looked at their running back line the other day. I think like their running back has nearly 1,600 yards. and then the
Yeah,
next
he's
guy behind,
got.
then the next guy behind him has nearly seven. He doesn't have 700, but he has nearly 700 rushing yards. I mean, golly, that's a lot of yards between the two of them, and then you factor in your quarterback, and all that stuff. So I mean, we got a big assignment, and it's a big statement how we
There are
perform.
some
So,
people on X saying that he might not play.
I
So
would I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be
I
surprised with that.
I don't want to
they're
talk
saying
about
that
who
he's a
players not
he,
playing. I want to talk about that doesn't that shouldn't matter. At the end of the day, we're gonna if we win, we win. We're not gonna be like, oh well, their best player didn't play. No, we're gonna go and we're gonna play to win that game. And I think every player on this Virginia team is gonna play, and it doesn't matter who's on the other side. We're gonna line up and we're gonna go to dominate them. I think these guys are gonna come out upset. They had a chance
yeah,
and they
they just
squandered it. But
Is Will Provar playing that game even though he's announced?
it depends because he's technically not fully in the
In
portal yet. But we'll see. We'll do an update prior to that game and see who's able to play. Because Pavard did announce his
I
intentions to enter the portal, but that
I
could just
doubt
be to get another check.
I doubt we'll have Trell for that game. I think he's done for the season.
I don't know. It almost looked like a hyperextended, but who knows on that. But I'll touch on Mizzou real quick, and we could probably do another full preview prior to, depending on the schedule. We're very much similar. So I'm looking at it. Scoring, we both score an average of 32 points a game. We both have 285 and 286 first downs in the season. Rushing yardage is where they take over. Like you said, Ben, they're a good rushing team. They got 2,800 to our 2,300, but then their passing yard is 2,300 to our 3,150. So, I mean, total offense, we've got them by 500 yards on the season. So I
Well,
think it is a very two similar teams, and they've played some tough competition. So they lost to Alabama by 3. They lost to Vanderbilt by 7. They lost to A&M by quick math. I think that's 21, and then they lost to Oklahoma by 11.
being
So I mean,
hmm
they
being
they
that
had
there's
some
such
tough
a
sledding.
being that there's such a tough running team, we win the coin toss. What are you doing there? I mean, because the blueprint's
I
kind of out, right? I mean,
well, it
we
depends.
just
Is Hardy gonna play? Also, fun fact about Hardy, he played at Louisiana Monroe Sunbelt team last year. So shout out to him going from the Sun Belt to the SEC and leading the
I
SEC in rushing.
Mills. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that there are studs out there in most every single one of these leagues. I mean, you can even point to us,
Sunbelt's
our
just
own.
a feeder league. Sunbelt just
Well, you
feeds
can
the
also
other
point to our roster. I mean, how many times you hear about Jamari Taylor? He's a walk on.
Jamari Taylor or Fisher K-Mac. A lot of our
Trell
guys
Right. I'm
Harris.
just saying.
But
coming up from
yeah, I'm
stepping
just
up.
saying. I'm just giving credit where credit's due. That's all.
But
But
Hardy had 241 attempts for 1,600 yards, 1,590, like you said. Net drops it down to 1,560, whereas Jamari Taylor, 222 carries for 1,091. So, and that's
but
obviously with one more game played.
I want to kind of pivot a little bit in this Missouri conversation. What and kind of put a bow on it. What is the importance of this game? It was like because if bowls don't matter, but I mean, there's got to be something. This game to me matters. I know that bowls don't matter, but this game to me matters.
I think it matters to UVA fans in the aspect of winning the 11th game, but the bowls used to matter. I used the concept they used to matter when there was less bowls, and then now money and corporate has gone in there. There's more bowls. Now we're seeing teams at 5 and 7 playing in bowl games because everyone's opting out. You got Notre Dame opting out, and then 9 other teams opted out of bowls. But I think for UVA fans and the UVA team, you want to end on a high note. Yeah, and you also want, because like you said, we drew a SEC team. You want to kind of match yourself, see where you match up, and I understand like what Sean says. You play who's on the other side of the field, even if people do sit out. But you would like to see their team. Nobody on their team sits out and actually plays. to see where we actually match up in that competition level.
Right, and I think if you want to jump in, Sean, go ahead. But I just kind
I'll,
of had a point that dropped in my head just now. But I feel
so
like, yeah, go ahead, no, Sean.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna change it. I gotta. Well, I'll go real quick. So you're talking about teams that opted out. Notre Dame is the biggest one who opted out, and that's just being crybaby status. That call it what it is. They're a bunch of crybabies because they didn't get into the playoff. And you know what? Screw them. Miami was a lock. The committee should have had Miami ahead of Notre Dame a lot earlier than what they did. But here nor there. Iowa State had a coaching change, so they skipped a bowl. Kansas State declined a bowl at 6-6 because of head coaching change. Baylor didn't take a bowl. You know, that's a weird one. Don't see why. They just said they would focus on the off season. But and then, you know, some of the bigger one or the more where you got the bulk of it is when they started reaching out to those 5 and 7 teams. It took a while to get there because of the fact a lot of those teams had already disbanded for the year. But I think I honestly think it those why wouldn't you want to play in these games? Why wouldn't you want to get your players extra practice? And I think that's where it is very much beneficial. You look at it last year, you got to see Bryce Underwood practicing with Michigan because he was an early enrollee and they were still playing in January. So he was practicing with Michigan in the bowl season. So I think that was definitely beneficial for those programs. And I think it's going to be beneficial for Virginia where we're going to have a lot of guys who are going to get the opportunity because postseason does not affect your eligibility. There's no need to worry about redshirt anymore. If you didn't burn it, you can still play in the postseason and be good to go. So I like that opportunity for us to see some guys that you didn't get to see. Like Ben, you said Sedarian Harrison was suited up on Saturday. That would have been, you know, this is going to give him a chance to shine. Some of these younger guys a chance to shine and see what they've got. And, you know, make sure Virginia is a place for them or we got a spot for them and we can evaluate things. But I also think we need to go into it with the mentality to win. And I think Elliott is all fired up. I think the team is balled in for that 11th win. And I think this does mean something for our program. We are not a program we're just going to stick our nose up to a bowl game when we fought so hard and we haven't been to a bowl game in 6 years. So I think
Do
it truly
you
does
see
mean something for
anybody
Virginia.
else, Ben or
Huh?
Sean? Do you see anybody else from this team potentially hitting the portal that like would catch you off guard, like a surprise, like a
No,
starter or anyone?
I, I, I yeah, go ahead, Sean.
I, the portal, in the portal era, I don't see anybody to catch me off guard. It is what it is now. People are going to leave and stay, and you know, you're going to have your lifers or your guys that are committed to the program no matter what, and then you're going to have those guys that bounce around. So nothing's going to surprise me. Um, uh, Truthfully, I don't think Cam Robinson is going to go anywhere because of his injury. So I think that keeps him at Virginia for next year. That's the biggest one that I would hate to lose. Seeing a guy who came to this program, balled in, and brought it to the level he did, that would be the one who I would hurt to lose. But everybody else, there's not too many. Ethan Mentor, I don't think he would leave. I'd like seeing him and how he's played this year. He had a good game and a good season overall. I mean, he was the youngest starter we had. So, but the bowl does mean something, and I'll come back to it, pivot back real quick. I just remember our first bowl game when Bronco took us there, or the first bowl game in a while when Bronco took us there. You know, we made an entire family trip and we went up there and we had a good time. We explored the area. I don't remember any of the game after the first kickoff. That was probably due to some of the beverages being drank, and we took us off, but it was still a good time. And I think that's why I think the bowl games do matter, and it's something for the fans. And again, I think Notre Dame, again, I keep going Notre Dame because I'm just pissed at them. I think they just robbed their fans because think about those fans that would have been, even if they went to the Pop Tart Bowl, how many Notre Dame fans are probably in that area would be like, oh man, I get to at least see Notre Dame play this year because I couldn't make it up to South Bend. And then now they get robbed of that opportunity. I think it sucks for them. And then again, last point on this, I think it's what about the players who aren't going pro? And that was our last chance to suit up and play the game. Ben, you played college sports. Would you
1 year.
you 1 year? But you know, you look back and you're like, man, I would love to suit up one more time, wouldn't you?
What if
I
they
would love to
skipped
go
that
back.
race, Mills? Oh,
What's
Yeah, I
that?
that's
mean,
right. You didn't run it, Jamie. I forgot. You just
I
were.
ran at Ferrum. I ran 2 years at Ferrum. I was
But yeah,
but
recruited at
imagine,
them.
but Mills, imagine your boys at JMU baseball and how they would feel if they thought they had one more game and it got yanked out from underneath of them. Some of those guys would give anything they could to suit up one more time and put on the purple and gold and play for JMU and walk out of there.
Yeah, I think it's a little different when it goes to like college baseball postseason versus like a bowl
Well,
game
I'm
because
just
like
saying
college
in general,
baseball.
an opportunity to wear the uniform one last time. You know it's your last time. Like some of those seniors on that
Yeah,
Notre Dame team did not think that they were wearing the uniform for the last time.
I
So
well,
understand.
I would say
I
this,
get
Sean.
that.
Like, I just get on the fact that I'm not going to harp too much on it because you've spent a lot of time on Notre Dame, but just really just the competitive nature of people and how they approach the game. And I don't know why you just wouldn't play a game, you know. But that being said, I do want to kind of say in terms of competitive nature, and if one of the goals of our program at the beginning of the season was just to make a bowl game, why would our kids sit out? So I don't really think we're going to have a lot of
Yeah,
guys
no,
sit
I,
out
I
on our
get that.
team.
I'm just saying
And
with
I'm
the
not saying you didn't get that or anything like that, Mills. Like I was just saying, like I feel like our guys are definitely going to show up, and really, kind of circling back to like what I had asked is the importance of this game and what it really means. And yes, it means it's a historic opportunity to score to gain 11 wins for the season, but also I kind of just look at it. It is important to play a good quality team like an SEC team. And even if you do lose, I mean, it's the measuring stick, it's the standard that you want to get to. And I can see why certain teams, if we're going to talk about it, would have some apprehensions to play in certain bowl games where they're maybe facing a trying to pick a good team to kind of to go with where
like
maybe
an
it isn't.
ODU, like an ODU, or even like a
Sure, like an
Duke.
ODU playing a Power Four conference where
Yeah,
you have not as much to gain in terms of like yes, you could go in there and smack them around. That's what you were supposed to do. Or you go in there, it's a trap game almost. You walk away embarrassed because you lost to ODU in the bowl game. So I can almost see a little bit of like I think it's cowardice, but I can also almost see a little bit of the reasoning behind maybe we don't it's not worth our reputation and time. We're not willing to
and
put our reputation and time to be kicked while we're down. That perspective about it. But I think that I think both teams want to prove a point. Missouri as well. They want to be the daddy here, right? So I
right.
just pulled
I know,
Elliott
and I'll piggyback
Ver,
real quick then
Ver,
off of it. The bowl game, this bowl game, also gives another opportunity. And I'm not saying any of these players are looking to transfer, but if they can hold their own against SEC like caliber other players, like it's also like a tryout for potential
audition.
if anybody keeps calling.
it's
And
also
same for us,
bragging
right?
rights. It's also bragging rights for the ACC if we can go in and knock off the SEC squad, just like when we went to the Belt Bowl. Was it in 2019 and we beat the brakes off of South Carolina? I mean, that was a huge, a big boost to the program because you would just went in there and you absolutely beat the snot out of the SEC program. So I think that's the same way to look at it here too. So
All right, so we have an opportunity to do big things. Meanwhile, on the hardwood, our guys are really starting to turn a little bit of heads. They're starting to get some national recognition. Recognition, big win. We were watching that last pod against Texas. Um, I mean, that was a whooping. I don't think we even saw that one coming. Huge win for us. And then a really exciting win in Charlotte against Dayton. And we got to see probably the performance of his career out of Jakari White. So we
so
busted
far,
him.
don't hold them to it.
No, I
So
mean,
far,
I only mean that, Sean, because how often do you see 100% shooting from the field? And that's just,
Not often.
I mean,
He
that's going to
started
be the
off this
story.
game.
That's going to be the story of Virginia, though, right? In their basketball team, it's just I feel like it's going to be one or two different guys each night that are going to show up. I don't know. Maybe it is the Ritter, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be one guy that's always the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I think
agree.
DeRidder had a slow night tonight.
Yeah, he had
Ritter
13
did.
tonight. Yeah, Dritter had 13. Sam Lewis led the way with 15. Malik Thomas 9, Grunlow 8, Dallin Hall 6, Chance with 10. I want to talking about players that surprised me, and honestly, I think I owe Mills some credit here. You know, we talked about Chance Mallory. Mills, like, this is like the kid. We need to make sure we get this guy. I'm like, man, he's a short point guard, and I'm like, I don't see if this kid is make or break. And to Mills' credit, he called it because Chance has really balled out and has shown up as a good freshman or a true freshman and getting so much playing time. I mean, he played 21 minutes tonight, had 10 points, but he led the scoring against Texas. I think he had 15 against Texas. Also against Dayton, he helped ice the game by knocking down, I think, 4 free throws in the last minute. So
I
I
do want
think
to.
he's really stepped into that role as a true freshman, and he's not intimidated.
Yeah, I definitely is a player which inspires like confidence in the direction of the program. Like they can really build around that kid, in my opinion. Like he's a future star for sure, and it's going to be interesting to see where that goes to. I mean, he's an excellent point guard. But I want to talk about Dayton real quick, and like a big red flag that I saw was the press, like how we handled that press. Like it really got to us. I felt like, and we kind of they cut down on our lead, and it's to me that's a big red flag and how we handle full court pressure
I feel
and
like
good
that's
defense.
always been a problem with Virginia teams. It's always odd that we struggle with breaking the press. And it shows when we turn the ball over 21 times to their nine, Dayton's nine turnovers. So, yeah, I agree with you, Ben. It's head scratching. And if we're going to give the press, we got to be able to break the press. So we got to figure that one out because if it comes up and that's our weakness, kind of like Syracuse in the tournament years ago. They're just going to press us and we're going to turn the ball over and let someone right back in.
And you're
Well,
going to see that against Duke. Duke's a full court pressure team. So I
and
mean
I mean, they
those
got 11 days now. They got the exam week, so they got a lot of time to practice. And they got next match is Maryland, so
and let's be honest, not every team we're going to face is going to have that personnel to press us full court. It's not like football where you can kind of scheme. Like you can't just scheme in pressing the ball. You have to have the personnel
but you're
to
right,
do that.
Duke's gonna do it. Duke does it.
Yep. But again, we cracked 24 big wins. I mean, I feel like we're. I guess we are. Are we a third of the way through the season currently already?
Uh, is it
What are
40
we
games?
not? We're up, y'all there?
Yeah, I got you.
Oh, I accidentally hit a button. Yeah, we're 10 games in the season. We played 32, so
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we're tracking really well, in my opinion. I don't want to speak too early, but we are really tracking well to at least make the tournament this year. And I know that that was one of the goals that or expectations you had in year one, Mills, was really to make the tournament. And
I think we're a tournament team now. I think you could put us in that
have you
68, and
you
I
seen
only
enough?
I think that's a fair statement, Mills. But I agree. I'm not questioning that. But I would
but
say that
I want
I
to
would
see
say
what
that Mills. I
happens.
feel like this team still has more. Like they still have a lot. Like there's more room to grow. I feel like this team
Oh, I
hasn't hit
agree.
their. This team hasn't hit their potential. They're still really. I think they're still getting to know each other. Rotations are still being figured out, and keep shooting it. I mean, at this point, but stop turning the dang ball over. That's all I can really say about it.
Did they turn the ball over a lot tonight? I didn't look.
I haven't looked over this. I haven't even. What's the final?
It
The
was like
final
8.
tonight was 80. Whoops, sorry, I'm looking the wrong way. 84 to 60. And the question on turnovers, we had only seven tonight. Sorry, seven turnovers, and we forced 15.
Yeah, this team I think is just they're gonna be a little streaky at times. I mean, that's to be expected too, especially on
I
defense.
mean, University of Maryland Eastern Shore ranked 337th net, baby. That's a tough team, baby.
Um, Side note, I mean, what's going on with North Carolina State? I feel like they're not having the start that they really wanted
They're
so
not. They're
far.
struggling. They're not.
Does that make you
Honestly,
happy?
I feel like we have a pretty favorable schedule in the ACC, and we don't see Duke until late February, and it's at Cameron Indoor, but it's our third to last game. So
You know who's also, you know who's
I
also
I
lost a little steam is Tech.
I
oh
do
yeah,
like that open ACC play with Tech and then turn around and then have NC State on New Year's Eve. So you kind of get that
oh no,
new.
you have Tech on New Year's Eve, and then you have
Uh,
NC State on the third,
okay, so you got early.
and then we have Cal who comes across the country to play a 60-minute or 40-minute basketball game, and then Stanford as well coming over. So yeah, we got some good. I like the way this team looks. I haven't got frustrated with the style of play. I think it's better than I expected. I like the defensive pressure. I think we still are a defensive minded team, which I like. And it's proven to be a better start than I think a lot of people expected. I I don't think a lot of people expected some of these wins against like Texas. And I don't think some of the dominance we've had was expected. So I think we're getting some respect and we're trending in the right direction. A lot of people have really liked what they see from Odom. So it's a
Yeah,
bright spot.
I agree with that, Sean, and I just kind of I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I mean, really, just like football, the importance of this season, but just this first year is really important for Virginia to be successful in terms of getting guys in and being a program that kids want to come to because there are a lot of options out there for them. So, um,
And we're actually 60 days from the baseball starting.
okay,
So
yeah.
I think it's
A lot
60
of fun.
days. Well, actually, it's
Well,
like a little more than
who
60
do
days because February 14th is the start. So,
trying to think of who we got next in basketball.
Maryland.
well, we get to see what
Maryland,
Tech does. Tech plays the same team we played tonight in this weekend, so we get to see what they do.
Buzz. That's who's coaching at Tech, right? Or Maryland, right? Buzz.
Buzz Williams coming back to the ACC.
Oh yeah, yeah. In terms of playing, but yeah, you missed those Maryland basketball years, don't you?
Those were
Yeah,
fun.
Maryland's a good team to have in the ACC. They really are. In fact,
I'd rather have Maryland than Notre Dame.
I'd rather have Maryland than SMU, Cal, Stanford.
I think the ACC should kick Notre Dame out altogether and tell them to go find someone else who will put up with their crap, especially the slander they're putting out there. But that's neither here nor there. I got a bone to pick with them.
All right,
Dude,
well, Sean, you've
they're
already ate
going.
about 10 minutes of this hour just ranting on Notre
Dude,
Dame,
they
and
are.
with that,
He is eating up the ACC. It's been some good commentary.
I think it's
and
point.
with
I think it's without warrant. The ACC didn't do anything to you. You 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 lost to the ACC premier team. Miami was the premier team in the ACC
you know what
who
I
you
thought was
played and you
you
lost
know
to
what I
them. So
thought
sorry.
you know what I thought was funny with their '80s comments was like we never talk publicly about our ACC peers, and I thought the terminology he used, just saying publicly versus like I just imagine them like behind closed doors, just living in that ivory tower. You know what I mean? Just bashing everybody. And
They're saying
the elitism is on full display in my mind right now with them. So
It's
they
just a
said
bad
Freeman
precedent.
is the lead candidate for the New York Giants job.
Why would you leave? You can go be mediocre at Notre Dame and they'll keep paying you. I would never go and leave for coaching New York. It's not worth it. They'll fire you and you don't have the GM.
well, fellas, that marks an hour. I imagine with our new pod schedule coming up, just so you folks know, we'll be going to 2 hours. No, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, the pod schedule we are going to kind of adjust. We always kind of slow down in basketball. It's a lot to cover, so we may be going every other week. Um, and sorry if our sound quality is a little weird, a little different right now. We are kind of focusing on being a little more remote to accommodate everybody's life schedules, holidays, all that kind of stuff. Um, Potential
Ben, you gotta
trips.
slide your face over. Your face is half.
There we go.
There you
Yeah,
are.
I'm not used to potential trips to Oregon or whatever. But Mills, if they make it to the second round, are you gonna go?
Yeah, it's in Miami. I've already told, and it's on January 1st. So I've already told Mary, like, if I don't go to Oregon, it's definitely going to. Maybe I'll meet up with Deuce. He'll go with me.
I don't think so. But
I don't think he would
uh,
either.
oh, shout out to him making it onto Corner Media. I mean, he's really doing really
Yeah,
well
he's
over
doing big time. Hey, we gotta get with him about some social media because he's killing it on the TikTok game.
there. But anyway, fellas, look, like I said, everyone just look out for a different schedule. Follow us on X for when we're actually going to release stuff because it'll be 2, 3 weeks every now and then. But we appreciate the ride. We're going to definitely touch base for this bowl game, so look forward to that. But yeah, I mean, anything else you guys want to add?
The cup is
Nope.
here.
I guess, like I said, you got to look at the season like totality. All right, so Mills, go Dukes. Yeah, no, dude.
Deuce beat Oregon.
Best of luck.
um. Yeah, that's all I got for you. Best of luck.
Oh, Sean just disappeared.
I don't know. So, all right, guys. Well, as always, go Hooks.
Go Hoos.
Go Who's.
Okay.